Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. My name is Muhammad Hafiz bin Ahmad Syafuddin. Number metric 231302495. Today, we have a very important agenda. As you know, we have a major compliance audit by the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, DOSH, coming up in exactly 4 weeks. Currently, our site lacks proper risk assessments and many are unaware of their legal duties. This briefing is designed to change that. So we will cover the core occupational safety and health, or OSH, and I will introduce you to our primary risk management tool, which is HIRAC. Let's get started so we can ensure our Kanga High Tech Park site is safe and compliant. Okay, let's begin. So, who is a safety officer? You might be wondering, what exactly is my role here? Under Section 29 of the Occupational Safety and Health, OSHA 1994, it is a strict legal requirement for specific high-risk industries to appoint a competent safety and health officer. But I want to be clear right now, I'm just here to act as a policeman handling out penalties. My primary mandate is to advise the management of OSH matters, conduct regular workplace inspections and investigation any accident before they become fatal accidents. I am here as a technical resource for both the workers on the ground and the direction in the boardroom. So, why OSH matters? Why we are talking this so seriously? Let's look beyond the law and look at reality right now. According to the DOSH statistic for 2023, there were thousands of workplace injuries and nearly 200 fatalities in Malaysia. Just recently, in Penang, a foreign worker was tragically crushed by a collapsing wall because the employee failed to conduct a simple risk assessment. Accidents are incredibly costly. The result in stop work orders, massive fine, project delays, and permanent damage to our company's reputation. But most importantly, failure in OSH costs human life. For instance, an incident at our trekking site means a family loses and loved one. Safety is our absolutely moral imperative. Now, let's we talk about the law, starting with the management team. Under OSHA 1994, Section 15 states that it is the duty for every employer to ensure, so far as is practicable, the safety, health and welfare of all the employees in our company. So what does this mean in practice? It means you must provide a safe plan. Our executor, drum jacks and witches must be regularly maintained. It means providing a safe safety of work. We need standard operating procedure for digging trenches. Finally, you must provide an information, instruction, and a training. You cannot simply send a technician into the field without proper safety, training, and expect them to know all the risks. Right, so to the site workers, technician, and operator in the room, you have legal responsibility too. In Section 24 of OSHA 1994, it takes that your duties: first, you must take reasonable care of your own safety and safety of your colleague. If you see someone standing too close to an open trench, it is your duty to warn them. Second, you must cooperate with the employer. If I, as the safety officer, or you, as the supervisor, give a safety directive, you must follow it. Finally, you must properly wear and personal protective equipment, which is PPE, to provide to you. Refusing to wear that, which is safety helmet or high visibility vest, is not just breaking company rules; it is breaking federal law. So, I need everyone full attention for this slide, especially the company directors. The OSHA 2022 amendments officially came into effect on June 2024, and it has directly changed the landscape of workplace safety in Malaysia. The maximum fine for breaching Section 15 has skyrocketed from 50,000 ringgit to 500,000 ringgit. Furthermore, the scope of the Act now covers all workplace. Most critically, company director and top management can now be held personally liable for any accident in is proven. We also now legally required to implement formal safety management system. Ignorance is no longer an excuse. Okay, as an in network engineer company, many of us are registered engineer and technologists under the Board of Engineers Malaysia, which is BEM. Principle 1 of the BEM Code of Professional Conduct states, which is a registered engineer should at all times hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare for the public. So when we are laying fiber optic cables and trenching along public roads in Kanga, our work directly impact the community actually. If our trench collapse and damage as a public water main, or if a driver crash because we didn't set up proper traffic barriers, we have failed our ethical duty. So this is the most important part. We must never compromise public safety for the sake of our project speed. Okay, next we go to the second slide. The next slide. MS 1722 2011 OSH system. So to ensure we meet all these legal and ethical standards, we are adopting the MS 1722 2011 Occupational Safety and Health Management System. So this Malaysian standard provide a 5-step of the framework. So let we take a look one by one. First, its policy. It starts with a clear safety policy signed by top management. Second, planning. We set our objective and conduct our hierarchy. Third, implement. We put our plan into action on the site. Fourth, evaluation. We conduct internal audits and daily site inspection to check our performance. And lastly, for number 5, action for improvement, which is the review. So management reviews the data to continuously improve our safety standards. This is the exact system Josh will be looking for during the audit. Okay, we are clear right now. So for the next slide, PDCA cycle in OSH. So the engine that drive MS 1722 in the PDCA cycle: plan, do, check, act. Safety is not a one-time setup. It is continuous loop. So we need 4, which is a plan. We assess the site and plan our safety control. Second, do. We install the trench shorting and deploy the traffic barriers. The third is check. I will walk the site to ensure the barriers are intact and workers are using PPE. And I want to all the workers using their helmet. Lastly, act. If I find a near miss or a failing control, we act immediately to correct it and update our plans. This continuous cycle ensures our safety standard never stagnate. Okay, for the next slide, this brings us to the core technical requirement of this briefing, which is HIRAC. HIRAC stands for Hazard Identification, Risk Assessment, and Risk Control. This was guided by the DOSH 2008 guideline. It is a systematic approach to finding out what could go wrong, how bad it could be, and how we can stop it. So why do we do it? Because if a hazard is not documented, it cannot be managed. During the upcoming audit, the HIRAC form is the first pieces of evidence the DOSH inspector will ask for to prove that we have proactively managed our site risks. Next, we take a look at the HIRAC process flow. So, how do we actually conduct HIRAC? It is a straightforward 5-step process, which is first, we classify the work activity, in our case, outdoor, such as outdoor cable stretching. Second, we identify the hazard, like underground power lines or unstable soil. Third, we assess the risk by calculating the probability and severity. Fourth, we control the risk by deciding on preventive measure. And finally, fifth, we review all the control to ensure they are working. I want to emphasize step 2, which is hazard identification requires input from the workers. You guys on the ground know the hidden danger better than anyone sitting in the office. Next, to assess the risk, we use a 5x5 risk matrix. We look at 2 factors, which is likelihood graded 1 for rare, up to 5 frequent, and severity graded 1 for a minor scratch, up to 5 for a fatality. We multiply this number to get our risk score, which is L times S. As we can see here, a score 1 to 4 is low risk. We monitor it. A score 5 to 12 is a medium risk. It requires management intervention and careful controls. Third, a score of 15 to 25 is a very high risk. If an activity score high, such as a deep trench without support wall, work must be stopped immediately until control are put in their places. Next, hierarchy of control. When we need to control a risk, we follow the hierarchy of control. This is very crucial because we always start at the top. First, as we can see, for the elimination, can remove the hazard completely, which is using directly drilling instead of an open trench. Second, substitution. Can we use a safer method or chemical? Third, engineering. Can we isolate the hazard, which is installing heavy steel trench boxes? Fourth, administrative. Implementing permit to work a system and rotating worker shift. And lastly, the most important is PPE. personal protective equipment. Notice that PPE is at the very bottom. It is our absolute last line of defense. A hard hat will not save you if a 3-meter trench collapses, but we must rely on engineering and administrative control first. Okay, we go to the next slide. Let's apply this our specific assigned work environment. Area 3, outdoor cable installation and trenching. Based on our initial assessment, we face 3 critical hazards. First, trench collapse. This is a high risk. The control is strictly engineering. We will mandate steel trench shoring for any evacuation deeper than 1.5 meters. Second, utility strike. Hitting an underground live electrical cable is a medium high risk. The control is administrative. A mandatory cable avoidance tool, which is CAT, scan and a permit to work before any digging begins. Third, traffic incident. Working beside the main road in Kanga exposes us to moving vehicles such as cars, lorry, or maybe motorcycles. We will use the engineering and administrative control by deploying heavy water-filled barrier and assigning a dedicated trained flagman to control the traffic flow. Right. Summary and call to action. To wrap up today's briefing, I want to leave you with a clear action item. For the management, I need immediate approval on the budget for trench shorting equipment and CAT scanners. We also need to schedule our monthly OSH performance review. For workers, my instruction to you is very simple. Never enter an uninspected trench. Report every single near miss to me and wear your full PPE at all times when you are on the site. It is because safety is not just a policy document. It is a choice you make every single day on the site. If we follow this system, we will easily pass the DOSH audit, and more importantly, everyone will go home to their families at the end of the day. Alright, thank you for your time and attention. I will now open the floor for any question. Thank you. That's all for me. Thank you.